Welcome to Truth Never Retires. My name is Perry Small, brought to you live from Chicago, Illinois. And I have another featured person with us today, and you'll learn more about her in just a moment. I'm going to tell you about Truth Never Retires and myself. I am a veteran journalist here in the city of Chicago, and I am retired. I retired on my birthday, November 15th, 2024. Since then, I've been getting used or trying to find my way in this transition from being a longtime journalist, talk show host for over 30 years, the wonderful send-off, the retirement parties, and then the silence. And that was a tough pill to swallow, but I got over it. I'm healthy, and I'm going to do everything possible to make sure that you are spiritually, emotionally, and financially ready for retirement and to get there and how to get there. I did everything right in terms of finances, but it was the emotional part that really kind of took me aback. I'm a baby boomer. I am 66 years old. I don't want to date myself. Yeah, I'm still cute as a speckled puppy, but hell, I'm still a baby boomer. It's the loneliest generation in history, and it's not Generation Z scrolling alone in their rooms. It's the boomers who for 40 years, they built careers, raised families, and are now sitting in their paid-off homes, realizing that they never actually built a community that would outlast their productivity. Again, my name is Perry Small, and I'd like to introduce you to my co-host, another journalist. Met her here in Chicago. Our careers paralleled in so many ways, and she has had so many different lives in terms of her careers. If you talk about a person that knows how to pivot, it's Lisa Eli. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to our show. Truth Never Retires.
I love that intro. Thank you for the intro, Perry. I love it. Absolutely love it. And I love this genre that we're going on, talking about that truth never retires and that you don't. I'm literally in the process of building career number 3. And career number 3 is going to be part of me working for myself. 1, 2, I will be applying for the early retirement. And 3, it's that I have to keep going. We never stop going. If our brain keeps going, we have to keep moving. I've seen people retire and then just die, just go off to the side and die. They didn't do anything. And what I know that I am, I'm like you. You know, we've crossed paths. We've both been at the Defender. We've both been at the Citizen. And you did the longest at WVON. And in myself, I used to be on air and have filled in the background as a producer. Mm-hmm. So we've crossed these media paths. And one thing about media people, every day we wake up, we learn something, and that's kind of a goal. Even if I don't watch the news because it'll get on my nerves, I'm still watching news somewhere else. So truth never retires. You've got to keep your mind going and going strong. Never, ever stop, people. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to teach you the different ways not to stop.
And and like I said, we're going to do it emotionally, financially, spiritually, and just like, whatever is going on in the world.
Yeah. It has a lot of effect, especially
it's going
now.
to impact your retirement.
And your well-being,
but
and your spiritual being, and your common sense to some degree too.
But the point is, it shouldn't.
That's true.
The point is, if you are planning for your retirement, and if you are retired, you should not be dependent on who gets in the White House or not.
That is very true.
That you should not be dependent on that. And I'll never forget this. I just want to say this, Lisa, and we can go on. I was talking to a longtime congressman here in Chicago. I'll give you a hint. He looks like Moses. Anyway, I asked him, and I used to ask him all the time on the air, WVON. I would ask him, when are you going to retire? And he said this, and this is what took me aback. He said, well, I've got a lot of senior citizens in my district, many of them who don't make a lot of money. So we've got to make sure that we have to keep their Social Security. How about this? This might be novel. How about let's start teaching our people about other sources of income for during your retirement, and preparing for that maybe when you're in your 20s. Or maybe let's start making that something that we do in the African American community starting at birth. Instead of having these stupid baby showers for children that are having children at 15 years old, let's start some kind of a monetary account so they won't be as impoverished as, some of these other people out here. Let's let every black child start off with a chance, so that at the end of their lives, they still will not know what it is to have to grind every day. This is why we don't live to be 99 years old like Dick Van Dyke, Carl Reiner, Mel Brooks. All of these people in Hollywood. No, we don't. Kirk Douglas.
Dick Van Dyke, right?
Dick Van Dyke and Kirk Douglas. Douglas, right. You understand? We don't live that long. And that is because we're grinding all the time, and a lot of other socioeconomic reasons. And that's what I hope that this Truth Never Retires. I hope we're going to have some of the best guests, Lisa. I can't wait.
Yes. And you know what's even more interesting? This isn't just for a certain age genre, because you said you're a baby boomer. I'm that Jones generation. So I was born in that year that it's the end of baby boomer, but the beginning of the next one. But Jones generation is when Kennedy was president. You were born or a little kid when Kennedy was president. And this is the generation of the Steve Jobs, all these inventors, Russell Simmons, everybody who invented something that has built the culture of this country, which would be rap music or internet or computers and all that other stuff. So we're the inventors of what we're walking into now. Two, young people really worried about, because they focus on the today and not so much the tomorrow. And focusing on the tomorrow is so important. The little money, there are folks who spend all this money to get, and I'm not knocking anybody who does it.
No, the boomers, when you sit up there, you paid off your home, you have your boat, you have everything that you thought you wanted.
But the young folk spend a lot of extra income in, I would say, clothes, nails, hair, clothes, cars.
Experiences. I think it's more experiences.
And this is stuff that has no value once you walk out the door. It's always good to say, every time I get my check, I'm going to put this $20 away. I'm going to put this $20, because you're going to blow $20, and how easy it is to blow $20. If you put away $20 starting at age 22, 23, just every time you get a check, every time you get paid, if that's twice a month, how that's going to grow in the next 10, 15, and 20 years. And I'm starting to see people teach them. They've got little cash envelopes. Have you ever seen those? little saving cash envelopes. You can put $10 in,
Oh,
$10
yes.
in,
Yes.
and it gets open and it widens up as you pull it in.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put some little bit away. When I worked jobs that I wasn't making any money, but I made sure most of that money or the max percentage went into a 401k. That's kind of my saving grace right now.
I never did a 401k. You know, that's going to be part of the story too. But but what was it? What happened that you knew? And at what age did you start? Because the whole story behind the 401k and the gentleman that started the 401k is absolutely fascinating. When did you start?
I started with my first job company that I worked for that offered it. It could have been in the mid
80s?
No.
90s?
All in the mid 20s.
Oh, 20s.
20s,
Okay.
like 2015 or 2010 or something like that. It could have been like that. I'm sorry, I'm moving over here.
No, that's fine.
But
Go ahead.
it's a little red Labrador over here on the side. So, but
we're all dog lovers here.
I know. It was around that time period because a lot of times your employment didn't offer it. And we worked those employments that didn't offer it.
Well, it was very new. I think it started in the 80s. You know what? I'm going to do a little research on that, and we'll actually do a show on that. How about that?
That would be very good. Yeah,
we'll
when it did start.
Yeah.
And then now the interesting thing is that we have to really monitor it because of how the markets are. So you have to really get a good company to put that money in, you know, and make sure that your money is actually growing on percentages. So, I mean, I started thinking, I was like, oh my God, you know, I'm not going to have anything. And then as your income increases, my goal was to put more money in, just put the most that I can. And I'm used to not living without. So, and used to saving and used to doing that. I did it. And now when I look over there, I'm like, oh, I didn't know I saved that much.
But
so it does
culture?
Add up pretty well, especially if you have a company that has a match. Oh, that's heaven.
But where did you get that culture of saving? Was that something that was taught to you? See, the whole thing that a lot of people don't understand. If I were to give you, not you, but there are some people, if I gave them $10,000 today, and there are people that will say, give me $10,000 and all my troubles would be over. No, they wouldn't. You don't have a healthy relationship with money.
Correct.
I'm not going to loan anyone any money to help them out of a bind. And them telling me, oh, this is going to... No, you're still going to be irresponsible.
Correct.
The same thing, yeah, you can retire. No. How many times have I seen people said, I got to go back to work? They never tell you why, but I'll tell you why. Because you still have a shopping addiction. That's why you have to go back to work.
That's one.
Yes.
That's definitely one.
You still have a shopping addiction. Yes. Oh, you didn't anticipate for that new roof that you needed? Oh, I get it. Mm-hmm. So these are the sort of pitfalls that we're talking about, and you were saying that I was asking you, what was your relationship? How is it that you were able to do this? Because I was pathetic, did not save a dime, and like I said, that's a whole nother story how I was able to do this, and we're going to get into it.
Right.
But where did you get this healthy relationship with money?
Well, it had to develop. I'm gonna be honest. It developed more when I made more money. And both of us came out of the same boot camps. We came out of boot camps, and let's be honest, folks, we were in black media. They don't pay, and they don't have 401k plans, and they don't have matching 401k plans. So we're in something that we did in our career. It was a passion that we loved to do, but it wasn't paying any money. And as soon as I went into something, let's just say for the fact I didn't really like what I did. You know, I did it because I needed to work and I needed to build. And that I listened to learn that from watching other people. And particularly my mother always worked a safe job. So she worked for the city and the county or the state. And when you get that safe job, they have what? They have pensions. They don't have those anymore in a lot of jobs. They'll have a pension. And that right there will teach you, this is money that I'm putting into, that when I retire, I'll have it, and it's there for me safely. So you look at what your family does and the type of jobs that they get that allow them to capture and to save that money. But for me, I was an artist per se. I'm in media.
Yeah.
It's not paying. I don't care where we went. Nothing was big.
Now let me just say this to you.
For me, anyway.
My experience, and I'm going to say this: I never worked for white folks in my life.
Yep.
I've only worked for Black people my entire life. Yes, I worked for the city of Chicago. I was an assistant press secretary to Mayor Harold Washington, but it was a Black administration. But I'm going to tell you, my entire life, other than leading up to my career, which was just a mere year before I got into journalism, became a journalist. And print journalism is my first love. I just ended up being a radio broadcast journalist and media personality. But the thing is that that just wasn't my reality, not getting paid. And, I always, in the beginning, I had always had insurance. I traveled the country covering stories. Yes, that changed in later years. The money dried up. Luckily, I had a family spoiled me rotten. And guess what happened? They died. And last person standing in my family is myself.
Oh, wow.
And I'm telling you, there are no more of me. there's no more of me out there. And the last few years before I retired, I had a couple of years, I had my mom and my great aunt. Both of them moved in with me in the house, which used to be my paternal grandparents' home. Always had a roof over his house. So we're talking 3 different homes that I had, and the 2 OGs, as I lovingly called them, and I took care of them. Both of them had dementia. But at that time, both of them, my mother, she had a very generous pension from my father, who was a city of Chicago building inspector, and my aunt Annabelle was worked for the U.S. government her entire life. She, however, was a financial genius. When she got older, I had to go and help her with her checkbook. And one day, the first day that she asked me to, help her, because she was in her 90s, and she was like, well, help me, write these checks out or whatever. And when I opened up that checkbook and she had $200,000 in her checking account, I almost fell over. And I was like, Auntie, you cannot have that much money in your checking account. She's like, I don't know why, Perry. I said, Auntie, but you do you. So she got ill. She became ill, and I had both of them, and I took care of them. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do in my life, and I would do it all over again. But the time that I did have them, I never spent one dime of their money. We lived off of my money. I was able to, it was just in me. I said, my life is changing. I need to change with it. I have to come to the realization that when these 2 women are gone, it's just me. I had to
You know what's
figure out.
interesting?
Yeah, I had
And
to
not to
figure it
interrupt you, but
out.
what's interesting is you're looking at a generation that actually knew how to save
Yes. And
and
invest.
and invest. And the funny thing is, you never knew they had that kind of money,
No
but
way.
what they didn't live like what they had in the bank account.
Nope.
That's a key word.
Nope.
That's key word, because some people are out here too busy wanting to live like they have it like that, and they're struggling and they have left nothing. And then there was a level of generational wealth. They knew as they were seniors, they were going to pass that on to you.
No,
We don't
no,
have,
no, no. Don't get it twisted. Wait a minute. Let me say this, Lisa.
Yeah.
With that baby boomer thing,
Yeah.
nothing was coming to Perry. Do you know that they left everything to my dead father? Which caused a whole nother issue. And then
Right.
after my dead father was for my dead brother. Because the boys
Right.
were to
Right.
get everything.
Right.
See, I
Right.
mean, this is why
Right.
we're having this conversation, because
Yes, that's true.
we're going
That's
to be
true.
talking about estate planning. We're going
That's
to talk
true.
about at one time I had 3 homes on my home, my grandparents' home, my parents' home, and my aunt's home. I thought I was going to lose my mind.
That's right.
But guess what?
Yeah.
They were all paid for. And that's what we're saying. We've got to get back to that point.
Yep.
So that if you do have heirs,
Yep.
you've got to be able to pass that legacy and wealth on, or we'll never get out of this hole.
We'll never get out of the hole. And the sad thing, there was a generation that does not know that principle.
Because they've never seen it.
Because we're of an age that we could even, our age, we could even be grandparents or great grandparents. You know, both of us don't have children, but we could be great grandparents or grandparents. And there are
That's
people
why we like dogs, guys.
My age group have instantly. I know. I have relatives, I would say, that are my age group that as soon as they had children, they set up funds for them.
Right.
As soon as they had children, they were just that savvy.
Right.
There's a lot of people that are just still going pillar to post, and they don't have that, not just knowledge to set up something. They'll tell you they don't even have the income to set, because this one check is what's going to pay that rent this week and pay some bills. They're going to be behind on something in bills, yet they're going to have a lot of children.
You know, that's a big issue, because they're saying people that are making 6 figures a year, or maybe even $1 million a year, they say that's not enough money.
No, 6 digits used to think you were flying. 6 digits is almost like welfare, baby. It's $50,000-$60,000.
Yep, 6 figures is not enough money.
It isn't, because by the time they take taxes out of your stuff,
I'm talking when each of them are making 6 figures. It's not enough money.
It isn't. And by the time they take out federal taxes and where I am, state taxes, and then you got your SDI here, and then you got your Social Security, you don't have anything left. I could easily have had $2,000 per check of money gone. $2,000 per check, that's a lot of money. And not to see it, that's a lot of money. That's why I'm getting everything that's owed to me, because I paid into that. I'm determined to get everything that is owed to me. And I think people really need to pay a lot of attention to that as well. It's a lot.
You know, one of the things that I have really enjoyed most about retirement is I'm a senior. You have a discount?
Girl, you know what? As soon as AARP hunted us all down, 10, 15 years ago, you're like, first of all, I was like, why and how did they get my information and my address? Next thing you know, I was like, do you have a discount? Can I get a discount with that one? You didn't mention it, but I am get to a hotel. Oh, I got my AARP card.
Oh, and don't have that Platinum American Express. Eureka!
Right. Right. I want my discount. And then you got places that say, oh, it's 20%. And not me accountant. Well, that's just taxes that you're not charging me. So, okay, whatever. And even my consumer cellular. Yeah, I went with that old folk plan.
No,
guess what?
you didn't.
It works.
Did you do it?
And it's a discount. There's an AARP discount in there. Forget that. I get people call me. I don't get drop calls like I used to.
Never retires.
No, find all the bargains and the deals. Like I'm looking at Panama bargains and deals. There's like every time you turn with a Pensionado Visa, guess what? You get a discount. You get a big discount. They're like half price. You can't beat that with a stick.
Well, that is the beauty. That is the beauty.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And that's why I say, you know what? You can retire, but there are still things to learn. There are still things to be a part of. The whole thing is this.
Classes to take, discount.
Get a community. I mean, you have to have some type of community. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, you do.
That first, 14 months for me? It wasn't anything nice. And I just was a mere shell of a person. Baby,
it's just like everything, all your activities just dropped off. It just went cold.
You know what? I didn't want to do anything. And then it was just, I can't even really say what it was. I know I was in depression. I might have been grieving. But, I needed that time. We are so hard on ourselves.
Yes.
Give yourself time. For the first time, I had nothing to do. Do you know what a blessing that is?
That is a blessing.
That you can get up every day, buy what the hell you want to buy, pay your bills, and not have to get up and go anywhere.
Yes.
That's how I look at it today. It is a blessing.
But you know what? You got to look at that as a detox. You got to look at that as a spiritual detox.
It was a detox. Yes.
It's a detox because some of us have been working and grinding and going for so long. I remember getting my first check at age either 12 or 14. 14 years old. It was a CETA. Remember CETA in the city? Everybody could have a CETA job. That was like a job during the summertime.
Oh, yes.
And then they would just pay you like minimum wage. And I worked. I worked early. Okay. And I remember, I have to admit that my mother, they had to make me 16 rather, instead of 14. I forgot, whatever it was, the minimum age. I wasn't even at that minimum age yet.
Whoa,
and I got that CETA job and got paid for teaching people how to sew over on 70th at the church at Bryn Mawr Community Church. and the thing is, when you first start taking taxes out, I was in college. So I was doing it like maybe an internship type thing in college. I was getting checks. That's where my taxes go far back to when I was at Kent State University.
Wow.
And when they started deducting. So when you look at, the realm that they give you every month or every year to let you know what, you've paid into and what your amount is, mine started in college. It's time that I stop working. I'm tired. And everything has been a people job and an energy job.
What is the maximum Social Security is like what? I think it's about what, $4,500?
I don't know because I haven't made that kind of money.
I'm nowhere near that.
No,
I'm nowhere near that.
Because I know people who make money, but they've also have a lot in the IRAs and in their 401k.
But see, that's the point.
They put money over into there.
I do have IRAs. I do have, this is the short story, because we're almost out of time. But the short story is when Annabelle and my mom died, I took $50,000, wrote a check to Ameriprise. They don't have anything to do with this. I said, feet, do your duty.
Yeah. Yep. Let that money grow.
And I said, just do two things for me.
Yeah.
Make sure that I have some Berkshire Hathaway and make sure that I have nuclear energy.
Yep.
Well, wasn't that the smartest thing I've ever done? And on that part,
And on that note,
and on that note,
and we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah,
Where the investments go.
And then, guys, you know, next time you can hear all about my drug addiction of 30 years. All right. So anyway, Lisa, Eli, thank you so much, sis. I'm so glad to be here with you.
You too.
It was so much fun. And guys, I just want you to know we're going to be talking about current events. We are going to really be able to tell you you can walk away from anything if you plan. You can walk away from anything. Delvin Rando, my technical producer, thank you so much. And to all of you, this is just the beginning.
Just the beginning.
And we'll be back next time. Stay with us.